Thanks for waiting there, just letting a few more people into the webinar. Thanks for joining us. This is webinar number 6 in this sort of new series that we're running. We've done a lot of online content, virtual stuff. We did a bit of accountancy last week, and we've got kind of an old hand of these webinars, Guy Griffiths, joining us for this one. So you should all be on mute. We are going to do a Q&A at the end as well, just like usual through the chatter feature. So if you think of anything as we go, just fire it up in there. We are recording this as well, so if you want to rewatch it, you can do. We'll go up in the group a bit later this evening. I think just a very quick intro to Guy then. I think we all know who Guy is. He's owns a company called GG Fit. He's been 10 years or so in the retention game, very much from a data-driven background. So, very useful statistical stuff. Things have changed with retention through COVID. So Guy's going to be talking about some new retention techniques and strategies, but also new membership types that are sort of coming in, I think, as well. So I don't ever give them too much away. On that note, I'm going to retain host because Guy's got fancy new technology for his presentations. So I'm going to hand over, and Guy's going to kick off. So thank you very much.
Cheers, Rob, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to everyone today. Yeah, as Rob says, as we go through, do drop questions into the chat. Probably better from a recording point of view, if you've got a burning question that you want to, actually ask in person over the screen, then we'll probably do those at the end. But I'll try and pick up questions as we go through. I'll let Rob pick them up. Yeah, I'm using a relatively new way of presenting, so you might find it easier on speaker view. If you can read membership, retention, recovery, and reactivation just here, then you're good. But if you're looking at everyone else on the screen as well, you might find some of the slides a bit small. And yeah, questions as we go through, or if you've got like a private question you want to ask me at the end, then you can drop me an email. I'll be popping an email out with a copy to the slides and feedback form and stuff like that later on. But yeah, as Rob says, I've been in the retention game for 12 years now. My passion really is just helping people get fitter and healthier, but not by working with the people. I work with clubs and help them to get their members to stick around longer. So it's member retention strategies, lots of communications, lots of data analysis, and yeah, helping businesses to make more money or thrive, or at the moment a little bit more survive. So I've got probably 20 minutes, half an hour or so of presentation, kind of talk through to go through, and then I'm happy to take questions for as long as we need afterwards, or to hear what you guys are doing as well. I'm going to run through some numbers. I'm going to talk about member communications, and then I'm going to go into some savers, some ways of saving members. So hopefully this is relevant stuff. I know it is, because it's the kind of thing that I'm talking to clients about at the moment. And I nearly always start with numbers. Numbers are really key to knowing where your business is at. And I'm just going to throw some ideas of numbers that it's very easy to look at sales. Sales are one of the easiest things to measure because you either get a sale or you don't. And it's very interesting and exciting to track leads and prospects and sales, which is why there's so much of a focus on sales in the fitness industry, which is one of my big bugbears, because while sales are important, I'm much more interested in retention and whether members are leaving, and looking at attrition rates and seeing how we can affect that, because that's the biggest problem. That's why I kind of came into the fitness industry, was to help to solve that problem. Knowing the length of membership is really good as well. Knowing what your retention rate is. So attrition is the rate at which your members are dropping out. Your retention rate traditionally is more of a how many members stay for a certain amount of time. So regardless of whether they join in January, not so much this year, obviously, but or whether they join in August or June or December, how long do your members stay on average? Knowing your retention rate is really good, and trying to affect that is important. But it's harder to understand that, and harder to measure, and also harder for instructors and staff to get their head around. So attrition is more of a monthly measure that you can look at and try and affect more dynamically. Yield is important as well. Knowing whether people are attending classes is good. If you haven't heard, or if you don't know, people who attend classes stay longer. So getting people into classes and regularly exercising, booking in for sessions, seeing an instructor every week, always getting an interaction, or 2 or 3 times a week, means members stay longer. So the more interaction, the more people visit as well, the longer people stay. So it is really hard at the moment because people aren't visiting. One of the big positives that came out of last year is that private clubs always did this quite well. Big chains they just nail it all the time, and independents weren't as good at tracking visits. Quite often, you know your members, you know who's coming in, and you're not necessarily monitoring visits, and the systems weren't always set up for it either. But it's become really important, and we now have much more visit data, which is really powerful because we can track our members, again, not right now, but we know how members came back. And we had more data on, whether people were visiting regularly. By regularly, I mean, of course, the keen beans are visiting 3 times a week, but also the people who come once a fortnight. If they're coming regularly, that's fine. Knowing when they drop off and identifying these kind of numbers is key. We're putting together a lot of these stats at the moment for independents through some of the front of house system suppliers to map some recovery stats. But I'm just going to jump in quickly and look at active members. And I know a couple of you have probably seen this on other webinars I've run lately, but it's worth recapping. Everyone says it's a useful slide when I talk about this. I'm not doing a full build up on this, but this is a typical member database pre-COVID. Around half, typically maybe 2/3 of your members are active. They're visiting regularly, like I said earlier. There's a bunch of new members there as well. But at any gym, at a 1,000 member club, scale that up or down depending on your kind of membership, you'll have probably 25%, so 250 members out of 500 will be dormant. They've not visited for probably more than a couple of months. And also we have a bunch of members who are in what we call recovery, which means they've visited maybe in the last 30 to 45 days, but they've just stopped coming recently. And what we do traditionally in the olden days, as in pre-last year, is we try and get those recovery members back. And we try and get the dormant members back as well. It's harder, but we work hard on new member journeys. We work hard on keeping members active, but also there's always a focus on getting members back who are in that recovery state, or even worse, in dormant. Now, what happened last year? We went into lockdown 2, or even, I mean, some people have been in lockdown 3 or 4 times already. I know everyone's saying this is the 3rd lockdown. It's not for everyone. All members pretty much became dormant, certainly in the first lockdown. It was a long one. And a lot of clubs saw 25% of their members cancel. Whether or not they did a freeze or a suspend or stop payment or kept payments going, it obviously varies from club to club. Some see like even up to 30-40% cancel, others 10-20%, but around a quarter of members cancelled during or shortly after that first lockdown. And as we come out of lockdown, what tends to happen to your database, so we've maybe lost a quarter, is that a bunch of members come straight back. The day you reopen, possibly even the day before, they're trying to get in, right? And they come back to your club and they're so keen and they're working out and they're active again. But not everyone comes back straight away. There will be a whole bunch of people still dormant, and a big proportion of your live paying members will still be dormant. And we need to not necessarily encourage them to get back, because some of them can't, but we need to talk to them and reach out to them and maybe offer them new models, which I'll go through a little bit in a moment. There's also members in recovery. And a lot of clubs ignore this, and it's really important to highlight it and be aware that some people do come back on day 1 or week 1 after a lockdown, and they come back once or maybe twice and then go straight into recovery like 2 or 3 weeks later, because something happened, maybe an interaction with another member. I mean, in previous open ups after lockdown, it could have been because they had to go and self-isolate. But it's important to it's probably only a handful of members, but if someone's come back and you think they are active again because they have visited, but they've stopped visiting, it's really important to find out if something went wrong, maybe with a member of staff or whatever else, and just reach out to them. Even, I would say, even more important than the dormant members. So a little bit on reopening there, and in terms of, I'll talk about kind of reopening campaigns and things like that in a moment. But as people return, we classify these people into kind of three sets, if you like, or yeah, three groups. The beans are here for a reason. There's keen beans. I've already mentioned them. They're straight back through the door. All they need to know is the opening date and the opening time. So let everyone know when you're going to open. In fact, the keen beans, you don't even have to let them know. They'll find out. Okay, the fact that they didn't open the email, or they'll still be back at at 7 a.m. on whatever the date is. And I'm going to try really hard not to give you any dates, because as soon as someone says it's going to be the X of this month, that's then in your mind. And clearly we don't know what it is yet, so I'm not going to cast any aspersions. But the keen beans, they'll be back. You don't have to do anything. They will be back. Okay, best to tell them when to come back, just in case they do try and come back a day early, or as my club did after that last lockdown, open a day late. So it's important to really keep saying we're opening on Thursday, not Wednesday. Anyway, there's then what I'm calling the baked beans, not just based on my lunch on toast today, but they are going to need some coaxing. They won't be back on day one or maybe even week one. But what we need to do is contact them by all the means possible. So post, email, text, phone, and just say to them, look, the club is safe. Here's some stories about the people who are back. This is how confident everyone is. You might even exaggerate how many people are back. 60% of our members are back, or 600 members are back already. Everyone's finding it good. Everyone's safe. This is what's going on with cleaning. These are the policies and procedures. So, yeah, get that message out, and you should know from the last reopening and the reopening before that who the baked beans are. Yeah, who are these people that need this extra encouragement? They're just going to take a little bit longer to come back. That's fine. We know they will be back, or we hope they will, but let's not wait for them to come back. It's like the person who's been on holiday for 2 weeks in normal times. They don't always get back into the gym the day they get back from holiday. But if they've got a wish you were here postcard on their map, they might come back in with that postcard, particularly if there's an offer of an appointment or a coffee when they do come back, or a shake or something like that. So coax these people back in. The has-beens, I mean, whether or not they've cancelled, if you know they're not coming back, you need to work even harder. Okay, they're gone. They shouldn't be forgotten. You need to get in touch with them. I mean, even if they have cancelled, everyone who's cancelled over the last year, we need to talk to them about what future models we're offering, which again, I'll get onto in a minute. But this really is get feedback, get interactions happening. I was running another webinar earlier this morning, and they were saying, are there going to be more ex-member campaigns because of all the different reasons people have left over the last 12 months? I really hope there are. It's a massively undertapped part of everyone's database. Ex-members all know what you're like. They know what the club is. It's much easier to sell that to them than it is to new members. Sure, some of them hate you and are never coming back. You can remove them from the database if you know who they are, or if they reply with that all caps shouty message to you. However, getting in touch with them and tapping into them and just saying, you're still there, we're still here, is there anything we can offer you, and reaching out, surveying them is really important. Don't just give up or forget about them. So just a little bit about numbers and recovery rates. This is what we're modeling at the moment, working with Data Hub, working with we've got about 600-700 independents worth of data through the front of house suppliers, and we're trying to model recovery rates and show what's happening. But you should all have this data off the back of the last reopening and the one before that, or some of you, as I say, have been in 3 or 4 lockdowns already, depending on where in the country or where in the world you are. So the data's already there. You should be able to know what kind of message you're sending out to what kind of people, and also what works. There's some people that won't come back until they've had that phone call. So get on the phone. Hopefully that's useful. If there's any questions as we go through, as I said at the start, please just drop something in the chat, or we'll come to other ones towards the end. That was just talking a bit about numbers and kind of headlines. I want to talk about communications as well. Communications right now. What should you be doing? What should you be planning during lockdown. There are some clubs who've gone quiet, and they will be losing out. If you have been quiet so far, it's not too late. What you should be doing at the moment is maintenance with all your members. So getting, I know lots of people are doing live streams and online classes and all that stuff, and that's brilliant. But getting newsletters, regular newsletters and communications out to your members at least every month, if not every couple of weeks, saying this is what's going on. If you've not tried XYZ yet, you should jump on and do it. We're now running a challenge, or our members have started up a challenge to walk this far. Everyone needs to jump on and contribute. So lots and lots of different things you can be doing that is just maintenance. Again, like me, not talking expected dates, but just saying, we wish we were open. We wish you were here. We miss you. Okay. If you can get member stories in there as well, that's great. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a member of the month this month. Okay, just because your doors aren't open doesn't mean there isn't a member of the month or other great user generated content like that. The other thing you should be doing, as well as putting messages out there, is getting feedback back in. So don't just make it one way. I know this webinar so far is fairly one way, but I am looking forward to getting some questions or comments, or even just a, yeah, we do that. If you send a survey, or even better, call people, you'll get feedback from them. You'll be reaching out to them and you'll be having a conversation. A survey is not a real conversation, but if you send a nice little form, like 3 or 4 questions, how are things, what are you doing at the moment to keep active, when will you reopen, are you going to be back in, you know, week 1 or month 1 or a bit later, helping to start to classify the members. And people will fill these surveys in. If you use open questions and good questions, you'll get a load of feedback. You might get some shouty people who are a bit stressed, but great, then give them a ring or do whatever you want, you know, with them if they are replying in all caps. But try and be engaged with your members. If you've sent a survey out on text, you know, put it on Facebook as well, include it in an email newsletter. Just have something that people can just be giving you stuff back, because that will then help to form your newsletters and, you know, other things that are going on social. So it feeds point number 1. Finally, when we finally get the date, in fact, even before then, you could be sending a postcard out, as I said earlier, wish you were here, or you know, we miss you. But when we've got a date, you need a strategy to get your members back, and you need to base this on what you did before. So there's lots of different ways of doing these kind of things. The way we have run very successful strategies for clubs is to start with a postcard. It sounds expensive, depending on how many members you've got, it can be, but we'll get 1,000 postcards out for less than 1,000 second-class stamps if you bundle it all up, and we can personalize those as well. But getting a postcard out to start with, saying, look, this is what's going to happen, here's the procedure, this is what we're going to do, this is the date, this is how it's going to work, and if you can tailor that to your keen beans, or maybe even not send one to the keen beans, you maybe don't want to exclude them, but if you want to do it to a tight budget, you can, and just say, these are the people we're going to need to target with this. We then recommend sending texts out next. Quick response texts are good. You know, hit reply, or fill it again. It could be a survey link, or it could be reply yes to start your membership again on the X of Y month. Again, I'm trying hard not to mention dates. I'm ever hopeful, but we don't know what they are. Following up the text with, guess what, another text, slightly different, but everyone who didn't reply to that text 2 days ago, we're just going to trigger another one to go out to everyone again. Yeah, we're splashing out maybe 4p per text here. And obviously there's some setup and kind of maintenance charges, but texts get read by 98% of recipients within 10 minutes, as opposed to emails in the health and fitness industry on average, which are opened 1 in 5, so 20% get opened. So texts are really good. That said, following up with an email is a really good idea to the people who didn't respond to the text, or even people that you don't have a mobile number for, or that the text bounced. So an email is then another communication, and I would then end up with not personally making the calls, but then having a call list prioritized. So we're not talking, 1,000 members we're going to have to ring here, but we've narrowed it down to maybe people who opened the email or clicked, or people who didn't open, or emails that bounced. And you've got a priority list of how you're going to call these members and in what order. And you'll know once you've called the first 10 or 100 how many you're going to have to ring and leave messages for. So it's just a flow, but the point here is to know what order you're doing these in, what has worked for you in the past, or if you've never tried text before, give it a go. Splash out, a few pence or a few pounds on some text, because you'll get your members back in quicker and you'll get them paying. Or worst case scenario, you'll find out why they're not coming back. Okay, and if you find a trend and you've got 10% of your members aren't coming back because of reason X, and you can build a membership model that helps them with that, then off you go, build that. So just a little bit, some examples there on some communication ideas that are hopefully helpful. In terms of savers, how are we gonna, this is not 2-for-1s or things like that, but what ways of saving memberships and also bringing in new memberships. So I've been talking about this quite a lot in articles and on other webinars. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here because I know a couple of you have seen this on other webinars, but building up online membership and charging for it is really good. It's a really good way of not just bringing new people on, but saying, look, if you're not ready to come back yet, we're going to take you off freeze, but we are going to charge you £5 a month because you're a member of the community. Okay, you're not going to visit, but you've still got the challenge, you've got the nutrition, you're in the Facebook group, whatever else. So we would like, and if you've got an app, even better, maybe £10 a month. But charging them something, even £1 a month, to keep their membership on freeze, to maybe retain their favorable membership rate whenever they joined a couple of years ago. So having some kind of online membership offer that is chargeable once we get out of lockdown is really key. Something else that a few clients have done is remote coaching really successfully. It was a way of helping their PTs initially, but it's actually brought in a lot of revenue during the first and second lockdown, and it's keeping clubs alive now. Charging £25 to £45 a month for writing people a program. Now, a specific program that they can do at home, whether it is lifting weights that they've borrowed or even bought from the gym, so that clubs actually selling equipment to their members to help them set up their own gyms, and then offering remote coaching with that. Or it could be to do with their running, or it could be just nutrition coaching. But originally it was PTs and helping them to survive through lockdown. As we came out of lockdown, a lot of these members carried on with remote coaching even though they were visiting the club still. So they're paying their £50 a month club membership, and they're paying 25 on top of that for remote coaching. They're getting their program, they're in the gym doing their regular workouts, but with effectively with a PT. They're just not spending an hour getting personal training with someone. It's happening remotely, and it's followed up with calls or emails or WhatsApp messages to say, hey Rob, you're doing really well, great, I can see you completed everything today on the app. Or touch points with advice. A few of them have subsequently sold PT to people they would never sell PT to before. Or, oh, can I just have a one-off PT session? Obviously when the club was open. Yeah, of course you can. That's great. And it's a way of upselling. But the main thing is it's a revenue earner for members who might be visiting the club or might not be visiting the club. So it's something extra. And they basically ran the club nearest me that I do some coaching with. They ran a competition and said, look, after the first lockdown, we're launching this. Everyone who is interested, enter this competition. You either like it on Facebook or you put your name on the clipboard. The idea was a business card initially, but basically whichever way you say you're interested in it, we'll get a list and we'll give one person on that list 3 months free. So one person won 3 months free remote coaching, £150 worth. But then everyone else they've got a list there. They're not looking at their entire member database. They're looking at a list of 120 interested people. So they mailed all those 120 and said, look, you were clearly interested in this. You didn't win, but 25% off, either for just 1 month or for 3 months. Sign up for 3 months, we'll give you this for 25% off. And they signed up another 20, I think, off that 120. So it's about having that kind of program in place, but then putting an offer together, maybe with a competition to find out who's genuinely interested in these kind of services. Another one, this is fairly early stages at the moment, but looking at health insurance and selling this as a member benefit. Some clubs are just putting their prices up, and a lot of members will be fine with that, but a few members won't, and they won't come back as a result of prices going up. Members that want to support your club will probably consider buying extras from you and paying obviously extra for that. So something like health insurance is something that we're exploring, looking at Vitality, which obviously has links with David Lloyd and Nuffield and those kind of guys. But I don't think I don't think many people on this call will be worried too much about losing people to Nuffield or David Lloyd. If you could offer health insurance with benefits, wouldn't have to be Vitality, but that's an extra that we're looking at, that you could sell to members who are interested in their health and fitness. They will know that you are getting a kickback for that, because that's how these kind of things work. But it's not just about, it's not about the kickback at all. It's about a service and about providing more health to your members who are interested in their health and fitness and who could get benefits like this. So, as I say, an early kind of idea, but just an idea I thought I'd throw in as something you might want to kick around, or if you want to chat about it later, then let me know. This model has come up a few times. I know Steve has borrowed it and changed it for his own kind of plans, which is cool. You're absolutely free to do that. The key thing with it, and it's in Gym Owner Monthly this month as well, so, and you'll find it on LinkedIn. So if you want a copy of it, let me know. It's no problem. The point here is that we've got an app £10 membership, and yes, we might be trying to upgrade people to nutrition, to body composition, up to a traditional membership, and maybe even then adding those on, trying to get people up to full PT. But the reason this is set out like this, is also important to say, look, some people aren't going to be able to afford £40 a month, or won't be able to visit your club. Now, let's not just lose them. Let's move them down to a £10 a month, no visit membership, because they're not going to be wearing out the treadmills or dropping the weights and, generally that wear and tear stuff. But let's keep them in the membership family, keep them in the community at, £1 a month, so that they're still members of your club and your community. Okay, your club is more than the four walls, it's a gathering of people. So yeah, just a way that different, and there's all sorts of different membership models on there. I don't know, I've got a selling kit on that one, but the point is, it's not just going up the chart, it's also allowing people to drop back down and saying, it's just like Sky TV, saying, well, you don't want to cancel, what if we can give you this and this and this for the next 3 months for next to nothing? And I'll tell you what, we'll throw in movies as well. Slightly different to that, but you're basically not losing people, you're just dropping them back down. Better to get £10 a month off the 250 people that want to leave than just having 250 leave and pay you nothing. So get some kind of yield. So that's my not quite half an hour, but it's 1:30. That's what I was aiming for, so that's good. Just in terms of follow-up, I'm really interested in questions or chat in a moment. I would like to let you know that if anyone wants to book a follow-up call, so like short 1-minute sales pitch, sorry, if you want to book an hour with me, then you can off the back of this. That's in fact, if you're watching this on catch up, if you're watching this on the 13th of February, email me now, okay, because this is valid until the 14th, which is a Sunday this year. I'm sure you all know the kind of things that I do in terms of coaching, other than sitting in nice cafes in gyms. We look at numbers, we look at, it's not just numbers, it's getting insights from them, and it's getting actions off the back of those, and then working out what direction you're going in, helping you with that. And yeah, a lot of it is listening and just hearing what people are saying, and then building in following up support and accountability. And in normal times, quarterly visits. I hope I can start doing that again soon, because I do really miss that. Typically, we either save or add, for a 500 member club, we'll add an extra or save an extra 10 members a month, which covers the costs. That's basically how it works. Now, Rob has very kindly said, if someone wants, what we'll do, everyone who comments on this video this evening or fills in the feedback form, we'll basically put everyone into a drawer and we'll do a one paid call that Rob will cover the cost for on that. So if you do want to send me some feedback, if there's something I'm missing or something that's interesting or you're doing already, then yeah, leave it on this feedback form. Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook as well, of course. But yeah, you can, if you want to follow me or hook up with me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to take any questions offline. If you want to drop me an email, then do. But that's, yeah, that was my kind of just like last little bit of reach out. You know, it's 1:30. You're free to go now if you want, but I'd love to hear what you think right now and what questions you've got and what you're already doing.
Cheers,
Are there any questions coming in from the
I've had a couple of direct ones, a couple that I've also made a note of myself as I was going along, more sort of curiosity bits than anything else. So I'll fire out these, and then hopefully the other guys watching, if they've got anything, they can pop a question into the chatter feature. You talked about communication methods, sort of email, text message, that sort of thing. Statistically, is there one that works better, or are there times when you would and wouldn't use them? I'm thinking sort of emails, text messages are the obvious ones, phone calls.
Yeah. So where we're managing that on behalf of clients, yeah, sending them out is pretty easy, to be honest. Relatively easy. Monitoring them is kind of where the magic happens. And yes, postcard, in terms of getting absent members back, so people who are in recovery or even dormant, the best way to get them back is postcards. It's something like 75% return within 10 days of a postcard. Text is the next most effective. I think it's around 68, 69%. Yeah, it's just under 70% return within 10 days of a text, and then 65% around that within 10 days of an email, which, relatively speaking, is pretty good when you consider that email open rates are so low. But yeah, post is the best way, and we get members coming back into clubs with postcards like that say "Wish you were here." And they'll come back in and say, "I'm really sorry, I've got this." Awesome. And off you go. So, but it does depend on what you're trying to do. So, you know, welcome when you've just joined a week, you know, a few days after joining, an email is great. We send congratulation messages at the end of month one, normally by text. The main reason we send text there is because it opens the text channel. There's nothing worse than the first text you get from your club being, "Rob, where have you been? We miss you." "Oh, right, now you're texting me." I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about mixing it up, using all the different channels, and you know, there's different channels for different people. We don't really go down the, "Oh, this person's 70 years old, we must send them postcards," because those people do get and read text as well.
Cool. To that one. You talked about in the journey of phone calls at the end. So you follow, you send your email, your text, and you follow it up with a phone call. Anybody, who would you suggest making those phone calls within the club?
That's a good question. What before I answer it, I'm gonna see if anyone wants to fess up to doing it themselves, or
everyone's quiet. So in my day, I mean, I didn't really do. Back in the day, I was membership manager, which was new sales and existing memberships, and I've been making phone calls myself, and I'd get the sales guys to make those phone calls as well. So, but this is going back 10 years, so things have probably changed since then.
Yeah, I mean, so the sales guys are more used to getting on the phone than maybe the instructors. Giving it to instructors is a long shot. You know, some people say they should know the members the best because they're seeing them most often, but most instructors are not into what they call cold calling. It's not cold calling because we're not selling them double dazing. We're caring for them and trying to get them back. At the moment, making calls, the best person to do it is the person most likely to do it, and that's the gym owner. So but if you've got a really good, really kind of dedicated, you know, right hand man or woman who, you know, is going to help you or do part of that, then yeah, it's whoever's most likely to do it, which is why I think the gym owner is obviously often the right person. And I've chatted to a lot of owners lately, and they are doing it, because it also really shows you care. It's worth putting in the time for that, I would say.
And I think that's probably what sets apart an independent to a chain, because
100%.
it is the independent is the owner, isn't it? Let's face it. Although you can grow in size and scale and have more and more staff working with you, but the independents are the owner that's in the gym and knows their members. So,
yeah. I mean, one thing we've done on that is to say, look, okay, here's a number of people who have clicked this link and are a bit engaged, who aren't coming back. So, let's give them to this person to call. And, it's about, not divide and conquer, but yeah, dividing responsibilities up a little bit. But then the important thing there is to have, I'm not a fan of scripts on calls, but you do want to have 2 or 3 points that you're trying to get out of each call. How are you doing? What are you doing at the moment? Oh, we're doing all your online classes. Brilliant. Okay. Or I'm doing Joe Wicks. Cool. Also good. Whatever. And when are you coming back? And if you've got 2 or 3 points that you're consistently asking, regardless of who's making the calls, to bring those together on just a little spreadsheet or post-it notes or whatever, and then to come back together and go, this is how my calls are going. All right, this is how my calls are going. What are you? All right, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. And to look at that data as well, to say, okay, I'm finding when people are saying this, that I'm talking about the app and they're not interested. Yeah, me too. Okay. So if you are dividing that up, make sure you bring it back together somehow. Front of house system, spreadsheet, post-it notes, something. Yeah.
That's all cool. Curiosity on this one more than anything. It talks about the keen beans, has-beens, what's your baked beans. Have you got any kind of split on a typical club on where members would fit? How many percentage-wise fit into the keen category? The ones that need a bit of love, and then the ones that need a lot of love. Is that available at the minute?
Yeah, really good question. I'm going to dodge it slightly and say it varies. CrossFit, 100% keen beans.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 5%. I don't know. Yeah. Pure gym group, somewhere like that, at least 50% has or baked.
Yeah.
Independent gyms, I'd say, I mean, the chart that I drew there with 50% of the people back, I'd say that's a pretty good independent breakdown. But it's totally club by club. It depends what you're doing online as well, what you've been doing for the community while you've been closed. There's so many. It's like retention. There's so many factors that go into it. But the point is, every club should kind of have an idea of that information. Particularly now we have this visit information. People have been booking their sessions, or at least checking in. They've had to. So this data is there. It's just a question of getting into it out of your front of house system.
Yeah, cool. 2 more. One is anything. Have you got anything around loyalty support or rewards for members? So the ones that have stuck by you, as in giving out stuff not for free but for free, because we all know free is a 4-letter word. Have you got any thoughts around rewarding members for sticking with you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few that I'm investigating at the moment. Things like Perk Box and things like that. I mean, the best one is rates, and giving them things like a metabolic balance, or I can't remember exactly what you're calling it, Steve, but having a go on your body fat scales, for example.
Body composition. Yeah.
Sorry, body composition. Yeah, they're not body fat scales, are they? But no, if you've got Tanita, like Steve has it, code, or you've got InBody or whatever version of, something like that, to say, look, you've stood by us, you're still here. Now this is £20 a month, this extra membership. But what I'm doing is I'm giving you, 3 months of this. It sounds like a bit of an upsell, but doing things like that and bundling in supplements or giving them, the other thing I'm a big fan of is just giving people a, here's a £50 voucher. Credit card, ideally a plastic card that is printed. It doesn't actually work with the point of sale system, but it has a value to it. Look, you supported us during lockdown. Here's £50.
Yeah.
Get a hoodie. We know we're actually buying those in at whatever 20, 25 and selling them for 50, but get £50 worth of hoodie from us, or supplements, or have some personal training. But as you say, Rob, and I don't know where you've got the free as a 4-letter word from. I've probably drilled it into you over the last year. But say there's a value to it. We will pay for you to have £50 worth of personal training, and then pay the personal trainer as well. Probably not £50, but pay them something to deliver that session, because actually they'll then give a lot more. The client will get more from it. So bundling stuff up or saying, look, here is some value for you. I think it's better than rewards, as in, you know, oh, we've given you this cashback card or whatever. But there is also something to be said for pizza nights, or when I went out for I'm not a member, but I work with them, local gym. We went out for a curry. There's 70 of their members all having a curry.
I think I saw a picture
last year. I don't know when we'll get to do that again. They were talking about a summer barbecue, and still are. Yeah, we live in hope.
Excellent. Right, last question. This one came in before the webinar from Adam Jones. He's not actually on the webinar itself.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll put you in touch, but he basically asked a question around, I think generally he's never put his prices up for existing members out of for a loyalty perspective.
Yeah.
New members are creeping up, and he's asking now, how does he go about, or should he basically raise those members to be on a par? Thoughts, and how should he do it, or what should he do it? It might be one to pick up with him separately, but
yeah, I can do. I mean, part of it was what I was talking about with the health insurance idea, is to say, because there are members, and there are members at clubs that I work with who I go, you know, through lockdown. I know Steve had this. You know, if I pinch your story, Steve, shake your head vigorously if you want me to stop. But there was there was a guy who was he'd already paused his membership to have an operation, and during first lockdown, I think he basically rang and said, I want to resume my payments. It's like, but you've not had your operation yet. You can't work out even if we were open. And he was like, no, but I want the club to be there after this. So those kind of members, they find ways that they can pay you more by offering them extra value that you can give them. Like I say, a really simple thing is a hoodie, because guess what? They'll wear that hoodie every day. They'll never wash it. I don't know if that's a good thing, but or something like health insurance or things like that. Then your members who can't afford to pay anymore or won't, you know, they're okay. If they've been a member for 2 or 3 years, but they can't pay anymore, then you've got them. Just by there's a lot of clubs that are just going, we're just going to put our prices up because we've got to. And guess what? All the keen beans go, yeah, put the prices up, no problem. Yes, you'll get a bit more yield, but you'll probably lose a heap of members. So there's something to be said for giving more value and giving something for those people who want to pay more, because they all will. And sure, you can then start charging your new members what you want. But if you're also giving them more value, you'll be just pushing that yield up, which is what we're in business for.
So essentially looking, instead of just saying all the prices are going up, we're going to say we're adding this, but we need to level it up as well. So you're giving them something extra whilst the price goes up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That will make sense. Excellent. Right, I think that's all the questions, unless anybody else has got anything. Zoe's saying thank you. She set up a new gym, so she's going to integrate these. So very wise idea. But yeah, that was all. So as I say, this has been recorded. We're going to post it up a bit later. So thanks for all for jumping on, and thanks, Guy, for hosting for us.
You're very welcome. Thanks again for the opportunity.
No worries. Cheers, guys. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.